Many cultures tell stories about shapeshifters,
gods becoming animals, animals becoming humans, and demons switching into forms both beguiling and terrifying.
Dr. Rashmi Mishra in the Hsieh Lab at the Fred Hutch Cancer Center studies shapeshifting at the cellular level in cancer. In a recently published study, she and her colleagues reveal a surprising trick that prostate cancer uses to shapeshift from a form that is treatable with drugs into a more lethal form that is much less treatable. They also found potential ways to reverse that trick, forcing tumor cells to shapeshift back into the more treatable form. Their discovery opens a new line of attack against aggressive prostate cancer, as well as breast cancer and possibly other cancers. Writing for Fred Hutch News, I learn something every day about how life works, what happens when it goes awry, and what we can do about it. Come with me to learn something new today, in the lab. Your study focuses on how prostate cancer shapeshifts between two forms, the luminal and basal. What are the basic characteristics of these forms, and why does that matter for how we treat prostate cancer?
Prostate cancer is not made up of only single type of cells. So here we are talking about two main types of cells. One is luminal and one basal. So the luminal cells express androgen receptors, and in clinic, there are targeted therapies for targeting androgen receptor. But the basal cells, these are more aggressive and they do not produce androgen receptors. And so these are the ones that can be more treatment resistant.
And what are androgen receptors? Why do we care about them?
Androgen receptors are produced by luminal cells, and this helps the cells to proliferate and to survive.
So you discovered that cancer does this shapeshifting from luminal to basal near the end of a process of making proteins. And proteins are those basic complex molecules that do all the cell's work. So they're very important, and they're essential for survival. And at this late stage in the process of making these proteins, called translation, the cell's protein factories grab these work orders for making the proteins, and they translate them. Your study focused on a molecular helper that does the initial grabbing. How does cancer hijack that helper and get it to selectively grab the work orders that it wants so it can survive?
Every cell has thousands of work orders that are necessary to make certain kind of proteins. So in cancer cells, this process is also happening, but the difference is that there is a selective protein synthesis that is happening in cancer cells. And the luminal cells and basal cells, they have different type of proteins that are required for their identity. And so what happens is here we studied one helper molecule, EI4E, that takes all these work orders and delivers the proteins that are to be made. And so what we found is when we targeted EI4E, we found that the more aggressive basal tumors are converting to luminal cells and making them express androgen receptors. Now remember that the luminal cells which express AR can be also targeted by the drugs that are available in the clinic. And it is important to note here that all things are happening at the protein level. So the regulation or the selective protein synthesis is being targeted. The DNA, it doesn't have to change. And so the regulation is more on the synthesis or taking the work orders to make that particular proteins.
So that's a pretty sneaky trick that tumors use to, they don't have to go back to the beginning and make up new reprogrammed DNA. They can just do this right at the last second. They can do this shift and shapeshift away from a form that you could treat with drugs. But you found a way to reverse that trick. What did you find out?
So on targeting EI4E, we found that the basal aggressive tumors are converting into luminal. And here we already have the drugs in clinic that target the androgen receptor. So what we did was we combined the EI4E inhibitor that was initially made by Effector Therapeutics, and now it was taken up by Pfizer. So we used this Pfizer drug, combined it with a androgen receptor targeted drug, which is already in the clinic, and we found that the tumors shapeshifts from basal to luminal, but not only that, they even regressed. The tumor size was regressed.
Well, that's pretty big news.
Yeah.
This is John Higgins, reporting for Fred Hutch News.